Okay, so very interesting topic, no? Peace building, no? Conflict resolution and peace building. When we say conflict resolution, it refers to the process of addressing disputes, tension, or violence between individuals or groups or communities through dialogue, negotiation, mediation, or legal means. No, it involves identifying the root cause of the conflict and finding mutually acceptable solution to prevent further escalation. In our country, no, conflict resolution plays an important role in managing both local disputes such as land conflicts or political rivalries, no, and larger national concerns like armed insurgencies. No, let's say, for example, no, barangay level justice mechanism like the katarungan pambarangay system serve as a grassroots model for resolving civil dispute without going to court. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffrey Alejandro Ulam from City Accounting Department, Quezon City, LGU. Together with Ma'am Harold Maytayawan, we will discuss the critical role of conflict resolution and peace building, especially in areas facing political instability, violence, and social unrest. These processes involve a variety of tactics, approaches, and interventions designed to resolve disputes, promote reconciliation, and establish long-term peace. We found that as a countries and international organizations deal with complex and long-running conflicts that threaten stability, human rights, and development, the relevance of conflict resolution and peace building in public administration has become increasingly clear. Next slide, please. The objective of this lesson is to first we're able to learn sophisticated techniques for peace building, negotiation, and conflict analysis, examine the challenges and potential of restoring trust and communication in post-conflict public administration, analyze case studies of peace building projects and transitional justice systems, and assess the effectiveness of different conflict resolution tactics. And last, gain practical expertise in relevant strategies and become aware of ethical and cultural issues. Next slide, please. Before moving forward, it is important that we define what we mean by the terms conflict, conflict resolution, and peace building. First is conflict. This refers to existence of struggles or dispute. Conflicts arise from circumstances like resource competition, political grievances, identify-based tension, and historical injustice. It's the underlying problem or situation. Think of a conflict as any kind of serious disagreement or fight. It is not that about shouting, it's the deeper issue causing the problem. So these issues often pop up because people are fighting over things like scarce resources. Halimbawa po, like water or land. Feeling unfairly treated by the government, clashing over who they are, identifying like religion or ethnicity, or because of bad things that happened in the past that haven't been resolved. These are the real reason why conflict starts and keep going. Next is conflict resolution. This is the process of addressing and resolving conflicts. It involves tactics, approaches, and interventions designed to resolve disputes. Conflict resolution is simply the act of finding ways to solve disagreements and fights. It's like having a toolbox of different methods and actions you can take to make the problem go away or at least make it better. Last is the peace building. This goes beyond simply stopping conflict. It's a broader process that aims to establish long-term peace. It includes activities that address the root causes of conflict, promote reconciliation, and strengthen institutions to prevent future conflicts. Peace building is more than just stopping a fight. It's about making sure that the peace lasts. It involves fixing the reasons why the fight started in the first place, helping people get along again or reconciliation, and making sure things like the government and laws are strong enough to prevent future problems. Now we'll go on to introduction to conflict resolution and peace building in public administration. So the critical role of conflict resolution and peace building within the realm of public administration. particularly in context marred by instability and unrest. At its core, this field recognizes that the complex stem from a complex interplay of factors, including competition for resources, political grievances, identity-based tension, and historical injustices. Consequently, effective intervention necessitates a deep understanding of these root causes and the dynamics of conflict. Furthermore, sustainable peace hinge on actively engaging diverse stakeholder governments, civil society, international organizations, and local communities to collaboratively address underlying grievances and forge consensus around peaceful and lasting solution. Now, we'll go on to the key strategies and challenges. Next slide, please. Strategies and inherent challenges in the pursuit of conflict resolution and peace building. Effective interventions necessitates holistic approaches that move beyond surface level issues, address the interconnected web of immediate and long-term drives of conflict. Given the fluid nature of conflict, adaptive strategies are crucial, along for flexible and innovative responses to evolving dynamics and political landscape. Public administration plays a pivotal role in leading and coordinating these efforts, building institutional capacity, and delivering essential services that foster stability. However, the process is often impeded by spoilers and obstacle individuals or groups who actively undermine peace initiatives for their own gain, requiring proactive measures for neutralization and robust enforcement mechanism to safeguard peace agreements. Next is promoting inclusivity and justice. The critical importance of inclusivity and justice in achieving sustainable peace, the inclusion of marginalized groups, particularly women and youth, who are disproportionately affected by conflict and offer unique perspectives, is paramount for the legitimacy and effectiveness of peace building efforts. Addressing past injustices through transitional justice mechanisms like truth commissions and judicial processes is crucial for fostering healing, reconciliation, and accountability in post conflict societies. Ultimately, the benefits of effective peace building are far reaching, leading to enhanced stability, economic development, and improved human security for all members of society. Investing in these efforts is therefore essential for a more peaceful and secure world. Next is let's deepen our understanding to advance conflict analysis. Moving beyond the surface is the first. Traditional conflict analysis often scratches the surface. Advanced analysis delves deeper into the root causes by employing interdisciplinary lenses, identifying key leverage points. A thorough understanding of the underlying factors, actors, and the relationships allows for the identification of crucial points where interventions can be most effective. Foundation for targeted solutions. This in depth analysis is not just academic, it's the bedrock for developing focused and impactful strategies to address the core drivers of conflict and peace building lasting peace. Next is navigating complexity. Advanced negotiation and peace building approaches. First is the principled negotiation, shifting from positional bargaining to focusing on underlying interest allows to creative problem solving and mutually beneficial agreements. Skilled facilitators are crucial in navigating power dynamics. Next is peace building as transformation. Beyond simply ending violence, advanced peace building aims to transform the very structures and systems that perpetuate conflict. Next is conflict transformation, targeting the systematic roots of conflict. Excuse me po. Conflict transformation, targeting the systematic roots of conflict by promoting social justice, human rights, and democratic governance. This involves engaging marginalized groups and advocating for policy reforms. Last is transitional justice, addressing past atrocities through truth seeking, reparations, and accountability mechanisms to build a more equitable and peaceful future. Next is empowering inclusion and innovation for sustainable peace. First on the list is conflict sensitive development. It is integrating conflict analysis into development programs to ensure they don't inadvertently exacerbate tensions. This involves fostering trust and promoting inclusive growth in conflict affected areas. Reconciliation as a deep process, moving beyond superficial gestures to address systematic inequalities and injustices through intercultural dialogue, empathy building, and grassroots healing initiatives. The power of inclusive participation, recognizing the crucial role of diverse stakeholders, especially women, youth, and marginalized communities in shaping more inclusive and sustainable peace processes. Leveraging technology and innovation, utilizing tools like data analytics, AI, and virtual reality for better conflict mapping, analysis of social dynamics, and facilitating dialogue and mediation. And last is the long term commitment. Sustainable peace requires sustained engagement, capacity building at the local level, fostering inclusive governance, and addressing the fundamental drivers of violence. In essence, advanced conflict resolution and peace building are now indispensable for effective public administration in our intricate world. By adopting innovative and inclusive strategies, we gain profound insight into the root conflict, enabling us to craft more effective and lasting solutions. To continue our discussion for today, I may now pass on the microphone to the next reporter, Ma'am Harold Maytayawan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Jeff.
Thank you po.
To continue po, so the role of public administration in fostering social cohesion and reconciliation. So public administration is pivotal in shaping inclusive, peaceful, and equitable societies. In context where communities have been divided by conflict, inequality, or discrimination, public institutions are crucial in rebuilding trust, promoting justice, and ensuring all citizens feel a sense of belonging. Social cohesion and reconciliation are essential for national unity and sustainable development. The public administration is at the heart of achieving them. So, number one, promoting inclusive governance. Inclusive governance ensure that all groups, regardless of ethnicity, religion, gender, or socioeconomic status, have a voice in decision-making processes. So, public administration's role. Number one, implement participatory planning and budgeting. Second, engage marginalized communities through consultation mechanism. And next is the design policies that promote equity and affirmative action. So when people feel heard and included, they are more likely to support the state and contribute to nation building. And then next, upholding the rule of law and justice. A fair and impartial legal system helps address historical grievances and prevents future just injustices. Public administration's role. Ensure equal access to legal services and justice institutions. implement transitional justice mechanisms in post-conflict settings refers to the processes and measures that address post-human rights and abuses and legal of violence. So example dito, in Argentina, public institutions reopened investigations into the dirty war era, providing reparations to families of the disappeared and reforming of security sector. And then support independent institutions like human rights commissions and anti-corruption bodies. Yung example dito, the Philippine Commission on Human Rights o yung CHR plays a watchdog role in investigating abuses and promoting human rights education. Yung impact naman niya, reconciliation tribes in environments where justice is served, impunity is tackled, and the law is applied consistently. Next po, delivering equitable public services. Access to quality education, healthcare, housing, and employment opportunities fosters a shared sense of dignity and equality. So yung public administration's role naman po nito is yung allocate resources fairly across regions and sector, ensure non-discriminatory delivery of basic services, and prioritize underdeveloped or historical marginalized communities. So yung example dito, yung Build program includes infrastructure investments in Mindanao to address historic underdevelopment and promote peace. So yung impact niya, equitable services reduce socioeconomic gaps and tensions between groups, building a foundation for unity. So next naman po, facilitating dialogue and mediation. Public institutions can act as neutral platforms where communities engage in dialogue to heal divisions. So yung public administration's role neto, yung organize public forums and peace dialogues, partner with civil society and faith-based organizations to foster mutual understanding and support cultural exchange and community-based reconciliation initiatives. So yung example dito, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, youth-led cultural exchange programs funded by local government have helped bridge ethnic divides that persist decades after the war. So yung impact niya, constructive dialogue helps resolve misunderstandings, foster empathy, and build trust among diverse groups. And then next, national identity and civic education. A shared national identity and civic responsibility strengthen the social fabric. Public administrators play a key role in shaping national narratives, guiding citizenship education, and designing programs that build patriotism and civil engagement. So first, I integrate civic education into school curricula and public programs. Example nito, edukasyon sa pagpapakatao o yung ESP and social studies subjects are infused with values and civic lessons through there's room for deeper integration of peace and unity themes. Next is promote narrative of unity, diversity, and shared history. So yung example nito, sa South Africa's post-apartheid state emphasized Rainbow Nation or yung narratives balancing truth, telling about past injustices with messages of reconciliation and shared future. Next is encourage volunteerism and national service program. Yung example nito dito sa atin sa Philippines, yung National Service Training Program or yung NSTP allows college students to choose between civic welfare training, military service, or literacy outreach, building civic duty early in life. So yung impact niya, when citizens see themselves as part of a common national problem, they are more likely to work together despite their differences. Number 6, ensuring transparency and accountability. Trust in public institutions in critical to social cohesion when people believe that government operates fairly and ethically, social tensions decline. So, public administration's role are key to embed the transparency and accountability into daily governance that translate ethical standards into real-world practices from procurement and budgeting to citizen feedback and performance audits. Implement open government practices. Example nito, yung Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System o yung tinatawag na PhilGEPS para sa procurement provides transparency in procurement processes, reducing ghost projects and favoritism. And then, strengthen audit, monitoring, and grievance redress mechanism. So, yung example nito, community-driven development programs like Kalahi, CID, SS, integrate citizen monitoring of local projects to ensure funds are used properly. Publicize budgets and decision-making processes. Example nito, in Philippines, LGU have shown that transparency increases citizen satisfaction and reduces elite capture. So, yung impact niya, transparent administration helps reduce suspicion, corruption, and execution, key factors that undermine reconciliation. So, next po, pang 7, yung post-conflict reconstruction and healing. In post-crisis or post-conflict societies, rebuilding both physical and social infrastructure is crucial. Public administration serves as the coordinator, implementer, and guarantor of inclusive post-conflict recovery. Its responsibility is not only to rebuild the state apparatus, but to rebuild relationships between citizens and the state, as well as among divided communities. So, lead recovery programs and rehabilitation of affected communities. Yung example po nito, in Marawi, the Task Force Bangon Marawi was established to coordinate rehabilitation efforts after the 2017 siege, focusing on housing, livelihood, and infrastructure. Support mental health services and trauma healing. Example nito yung Rwanda post-genocide trauma recovery included group therapy, reconciliation workshops, and community dialogue sessions supported by government and civil society. And then create employment and reintegration opportunities for former combatants or displaced persons. Yung impact niya, rebuilding lives and restoring dignity through state support is essential to long-term reconciliation and peace. So, supporting post-conflict reconstruction and healing is one of the most crucial and sensitive roles of public administration. It involves listening to the pain of the past while building hope for the future. When state institutions take the lead with compassion, competence, and fairness, they don't just rebuild cities, they rebuild lives, and in doing so, they lay the groundwork for lasting peace and unity. So next naman po, case studies for post-conflict reconstruction is building and transitional justice. So yung number one po, yung RANDA, yung Post-Genocide Reconstruction and Gacaca Courts. So yung context nito, after the 1994 genocide, faced the challenge of rebuilding a deeply divided society where nearly 800,000 people were killed in 100 days. So yung key initiatives nila, yung Gacaca Courts, community-based justice systems used to process genocide-related crimes, promoting truth-telling, accountability, and reconciliation. Public service reform, focus on inclusivity, rebuilding institutions, and decentralizing governance. And then yung Unity and Reconciliation Commission, it promoted national identity and discouraged ethnic division. So ano nga ba yung mga lessons learned under dito? First po, community justice can help address massive backlogs and foster reconciliation. Next is strong leadership and public sector reform are essential in rebuilding trust. And then the long-term peace requires sustained investment in education, healing, and civic identity. So yung next case study po, yung South Africa, Truth and Reconciliation Commission o yung tinatawag na TRC. So yung context nito, sa South Africa, transition from apartheid to democracy in the 1990s, needing to address decades of systematic racism and violence. Key initiatives nito, TRC led by Archbishop Desmond Tutu, allowed victims and perpetrators to tell their stories. Some received amnesty in exchange for full disclosure. And then yung Reparation and Rehabilitation Committee, designed to provide support to victims. And then yung lesson learned natin dito, truth-telling can foster national healing but must be matched with justice and regulations. And then symbolic acts, apologies, memorials are important but need concentrate socio-economic reforms, and institutional transformation is key to prevent recurrence of injustice. Yung pangatlo po na case study, Bosnia and Herzegovina. Ito naman po yung post-war reconstruction and Dayton Accords. So yung context niya, the Bosnian War noong 1992 hanggang 1995 led to deep ethnic divisions among Bosniaks and Croats and Serbs, ending with the US brokered Dayton Peace Agreement. So yung key initiatives naman nito, creation of a multi-ethnic state with two autonomous entities and shared central institution, and public sector rebuilding. Dito, reconstructions of schools, hospitals, and justice systems with international aid. Yung mga lessons learned naman na pwede natin makuha dito, first, peace agreements must balance autonomy with unity to prevent future conflict. Over-reliance on international actors may delay local ownership of peace, and then ethnic-based political systems can entrench divisions if not carefully managed. So yung pang-apat po na case study, Colombia o yung peace process with FARC 2016. So Colombia experienced decades of internal armed conflict involving government forces, guerrilla groups, and parameters. Key initiatives here are peace agreement with FARC, Special Jurisdiction for Peace, or yung handled serious crimes committed during the conflict, and public sector reform and reintegration programs. Focus on inclusive development and rural education. So yung lesson learned dito, number 1, transitional justice must victim-centered and credible to build legitimacy. Public participation and consultation help sustain peace efforts. Next case study po, Sierra Leone, post-Civil War recovery and TRC. Following a brutal civil war noong 1991 hanggang 2002, Sierra Leone faced the task of rebuilding a broken state and healing widespread trauma. Key initiatives nito, Truth and Reconciliation Commission, documented war atrocities and recommended repatriation. Public administration reform, strengthen institutions like policy, judiciary, and anti-corruption agencies. Lessons learned natin dito, hybrid justice mechanisms, national and international, can support local capacity. And then second, long-term peace requires restoring rule of law, improving public service delivery, and addressing youth unemployment. And the third one is the civic education play a vital role in promoting nonviolence and democracy. So to conclude, these case studies highlight that post-conflict reconstruction is not just about physical rebuilding. It's about healing, justice, and inclusive governance. Public administration serves as the backbone for implementing peace agreements, delivering services fairly, and restoring confidence in the state. Effective leadership, public participation, and a strong commitment to justice are essential to creating lasting peace. So, yun po. That would be all po, Doc. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you so much, no? Uh, sorry. Peace building goes beyond conflict resolutions, no, by focusing on creating long-term conditions for peace, no. It includes initiative that address structural inequalities, no, promote human rights and build social cohesion. In our country, no, peace building efforts had been most visible in areas affected by armed conflict, no, particularly in Mindanao, and the creation of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Landmark, no, peacefully effort, no, following the peace agreement between the Philippine government and Moro Islamic Liberation Front, no. So this initiative seek to empower local governance, respect, no, cultural identity, and reduce poverty, no. The key element is sustaining peace, no. So again, effective conflict resolution and peace building required inclusive participation in trust building. Okay, so despite progress, no, challenges remain, no. Issues like land grabbing, clan wars, no, political violence, and ideological insurgencies continue to threaten peace and development in many areas. So to address this effectively, peace building must be integrated into national and local development agendas supported by strong institution and responsive governance. No, conflict resolution is not a one-time event, no, but a continuous process that requires patience, cultural sensitivity, and genuine political will. Qualities that can help the Philippines move closer to more just and lasting peace. Okay?